Dr. Tahiti graduated with a PhD in environmental fluid mechanics from this department. I was his advisor. He then has worked in various capacities in fire protection, mainly focused on wildfires. It's a really important topic. There's growing wildfire. The wildfire season now runs all year round, and he's one of the sort of leading young figures in that area. He does numerical work. He's done work with private industry on machine learning modeling of wildfires, and he also does very nice lab-based experiments in wildfire spread. And I think he's going to be one of the major researchers in that field for the next generation. His research has led to a whole series of patents on modeling algorithms for wildfires. He has been asked to testify before congressional hearings on the modeling and spread of wildfires and the risk of wildfires. He also does a lot of outreach with school groups and other people, trying to encourage them to understand how science and engineering can be applied to mitigate wildfire risks. He's done that both in industry and in academia, and he's now just recently started working in probably one of the premier fire protection engineering departments in the country up at the University of Maryland. Ali is very successful, but that success is built on his time here at Clemson. And I think what he showed in his time here at Clemson and what he's achieved since is that if you take advantage of all of the opportunities here, if you take classes out of your core area of interest, if you engage with people in different departments, if you seek out opportunities to learn and develop, then anything is possible coming out of Clemson.